Time for the radio show.
You're listening to Texas Real Estate with Todd Tremonti, brought to you by the Patrick Glaros Mortgage Team, DP Lambert with Goosehead Insurance, Republic Title, Home Serve Home Warranty, Evolution Moving, and Keen Landscaping. And now your host, real estate broker, consultant, and best-selling author, Todd Tremonti.
Welcome to the show. Welcome, folks. This is Texas Real Estate. I am Todd Tremonti, and we will be talking all things residential real estate across the great state of Texas, with a focus right here in DFW. Happy to talk about Dallas, Fort Worth real estate. Lots going on all across North Texas, as well as the globe that is impacting North Texas. Lots of questions lately in the office over at the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team about what's the impact of gas prices going to have on real estate? What's the impact of economic policy, potential recessions, all sorts of scary, negative things in the news. And the questions I get, and I've had a chance to be, on different media outlets over the last couple of weeks just to talk about, are what is that going to do to housing inventory? What's that going to do to pricing? What's that going to do to buyer demand, buyer confidence, the momentum for sellers? What's the spring summer market going to be like? We will get into all of those things as we make our way through the show. If you've got questions, call or text 214-310-0008. That's 214-310-0008. Or as our buddy Sean Hannity says, 214-310-0008. You can always go to toddtremontiteam.com as well. toddtremontiteam.com, or as my son says,
toddtremontiteam.com.
And when you're there, you can find video clips of past radio show episodes, little excerpts on quick question and answer topics. You can find information on all of the professionals that we appreciate and respect and share with you and introduce you to here on the show by clicking the radio tab. You can get your home buyer readiness score, your home seller readiness score by clicking scorecard. You can get your home value in under a minute by clicking home valuation. Lots going on at toddtremontiteam.com. This first segment, as always, is brought to you by Patrick Glaros and his incredibly gifted, heartfelt, thoughtful, really sharp team over at Cardinal Financial. For all of your mortgage needs, go to patrickglaros.com. That's Glaros, patrickglaros.com. NMLS number 308804. Lots to cover today.
Well done, well read.
Appreciate it.
How is everything kind of looking the last couple of weeks? Have we seen any big changes overall in the market as it goes for sellers, buyers? I know I saw a lot of news on interest rates recently, and I've heard more and more talk about recessions. Mm-hmm. Give us the overall update.
Yeah, I mean, let's just hit the big ugly word first, right? So recession, what does it mean? I'm not an economist, so look, I'm probably going to say something slightly off, but basically a recession is when you have two consecutive quarters of negative economic activity. There's some very specific metrics that you look at, GDP growth, things like that, but generally speaking, for most of us, we don't know we were in a recession until we already were in a recession, right? Until the data says it's been two consecutive quarters. And some people are predicting that we might be in one, the beginnings of one, or we might have one coming up soon. Ultimately, just because someone else puts a label on something shouldn't really change the way you go about things. But each and every one of us is having to look at our budget differently and our decisions differently as food costs are up and gas costs are up and most costs are up. Certainly housing costs are up. And so when the question is, how is all that going to impact housing? The shortest radio answer I could give you is more of that, more of house prices going up. Now, it's a much more complex issue than that. So we'll break it down and discuss it throughout the show today. Different nuances, different angles for buyers, for sellers, for investors, for long-term planning, short-term planning, how to time the seasonality of the market and things like that. So if you have specific questions, send them to us right now, 214-310-0008.
I was having a conversation with our financial advisor this past week, and he was talking a little bit about the possibility of the recession, what it would look like, but he was very adamant on saying, like, it's not all it's not always like bad, right?
Yeah.
It does come with some investing opportunities to be able to buy things lower than what you would previously have been able to get them.
Well, you make a really good point. So a recession is just basically a mathematical economic terminology. You know, it's like saying the stock market's down. Well, most people aren't living their life minute by minute based on stock valuations. They may not even need their stock investments until they're 65 or 67 or 72 or something very different than that. So the point I'm making is the market's down today. You know, that's part of it.
Right.
It's just part of being in the market. Hey, the economy's slowing down or working out some issues right now. Okay, that's a bummer. Now, there are other people, though, economically speaking, where the cost of gas does absolutely impact their budget on a daily basis.
For sure.
Clearly, in a society as large as North Texas or as Texas or as America, there are plenty of people at all parts of the financial spectrum where $5 difference can be a massive difference, or where $500,000 difference might not make any difference. There's people at every one of those points along the way. So let me be very clear before we get into the real estate specifics of this, that we understand that and we have compassion for each and every person up and down the spectrum. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on our residential real estate radio show talking about the social impact on poverty and on, you know, food availability and services and things like that. What we're going to talk about is how this impacts housing. So, all that said, this does impact housing. It impacts the behavior of buyers. It impacts the confidence in sellers. It should impact the timing and the approach and the preparation for both buyers and sellers. Now, here's a big one. It should change the way real estate agents and brokers advocate and lead and serve their clients.
So let's begin with specifically on the sell side of things.
Okay.
What is it going to look like over the course of, I'm going to say the rest of this year, assuming that things go how we think it's going to go with some interest rate hikes and things like that. Like, what are we looking at?
Let me take just probably 30 seconds extra to give you a really full, thorough answer to this. So let me go back before we go forward.
Okay.
Going back, I get this question on the show every week. We dive deep into it probably once a month. So early 2020, people were saying, what's coming up? What are we expecting this year? And we said, probably more of what we saw in 2019. We're seeing a slow, gradual, almost unnoticeable return towards a more stable market, right? At that time, we were seeing, you know, inventory was slowly creeping up. Days on market was slowly creeping up. No one was really noticing, but generally speaking, we all felt pretty good about the fact we were coming out of this highly charged, extreme sellers market. It might be 2 years, but we were making our way back towards some stability. And then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And the very slow movement towards stability went away. And we sort of just kind of stayed where we were. And then we bounced back a little bit, right? So then I think generally speaking, the housing market felt like we were mostly post-COVID. And we were getting the same questions. What's going to happen? And we said, hey, I think we're going to experience a lot of what we experienced last year. Now, we're probably going to feel a very slight, almost unnoticeable slowing in the pace of growth. 2022 might be 12 to 15% compared to 20.5% in 20, right? Sounded a lot like following 2019 going into 20, following 21 going into 22. We were saying a lot of the same things. Then we had a Russia-Ukraine conflict, still do. And we've had a lot more talk about stock market and economic market volatility. Guess what I think is going to happen? Basically the same thing that happened last time. An external crisis interrupted normal market swings. I think we're probably going to have some hard to predict volatility for the next little while. I hope this Russia-Ukraine conflict goes away soon. I think we'll sort things out economically in the real estate market specifically fairly soon, and people will kind of return to where they were prior to that, which was highly charged, nervous, confused, uncertain, buyers overwhelmed, sellers probably overconfident, and we'll return right back there, which was crazy and insane and highly charged. But I would anticipate we'll weather this atypical, unpredictable storm, and then basically at some point in the next year return to that trajectory we were on, which was still very much a seller's market, where buyers are nervous, sellers need to be careful, agents need to be better at leading and guiding in a different marketplace with different issues and different influencers. But generally speaking, I don't see a whole lot structurally changing. There's a lot of underlying reasons. We can go into those in a minute if you want, but I absolutely still anticipate a seller's market where buyers are eager to buy. Interest rates are going up. We can talk more about that in a minute as well. But fundamentally speaking, I think we will still have very few homes and a bunch of people that want them, with prices going up, lots of competition all the way through the end of this year.
I think one of the biggest questions that people have is because there's such a huge lack of inventory right now, there's no houses for sale, or very, very few. That only ends by people being willing to sell their house.
Two ways, right? We literally build more of them,
right?
Or people that currently live in them decide to sell them.
But building more of them is, I guess, a longer term fix
and very complex.
Very complex
with material and labor problems.
That makes things further away from the cities because that's where more land is, and it takes time to build houses
and get wood and steel
and nails and all sorts of things.
All the things.
But I think that's creating a lot of confusion for people and a lot of fear is not the right word, but just especially for people that are new, first-time home buyers, or people that want to upsize or downsize. Like, for people that want to actually do this, it's like, well, how do we do it? Because there's nothing to buy right now. We have a lot of clients that we're working with. I was talking with Andrew on our team this past week, and he's like, man, I feel great about all the people I'm getting to work with, but like 6 of them are needing to buy a home before they can sell a home.
Yep.
But where they're trying to buy a home, there's no homes.
Right. So what do we do?
Right.
What? There is an answer to this question. If you are in that category, which many people are, man, I really would like to move to that neighborhood. I'd like to build that house. I'd like to downsize, upsize, whatever. But, and then here comes the fear, where am I supposed to go? The answer isn't simple. Well, it's not easy, but it is simple, actually. And the answer is we have got to find a way to protect people from ending up homeless, right? Selling and then not being able to buy or not having anything they want to buy. And the way we do that is with information, literally. The way we do that here at the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team is what we call our private portfolio of homes. We are required for that to be private because there are rules with real estate agents in the multiple listing system, the realtor database, where if a client does not want their home publicly marketed, we cannot publicly market it, right? We can't selectively publicly market it. If we're going to market it to the masses, it has to be kind of accessible to all the masses. But what we can do is we can communicate, one of my clients has a home to sell and one of my clients would like to buy it. If they're our clients, they're sort of in the club, in the family, then we can tell them about that legally, ethically, appropriately, and it really helps. So our private portfolio of homes is growing and growing and growing. Let's just say, for example, you have a home, Ian, you want to sell it, but you're not ready to put it on the market because there's no home available in the neighborhood you want to move to. Well, I live in that neighborhood. Producer Mason, he lives in that neighborhood and he would like to sell his house also, but he wants to buy in a third neighborhood and he doesn't know if he can move over there, right? So there's all this gridlock, all this inventory is locked up. Well, broker Todd comes along and says, hey, Ian, let me put you on my private portfolio list. We're not going to publicly market it yet, but if I were able to find someone that wanted to buy your house, and if I were able to find a home that you wanted to buy, then we can start putting that deal together without the fear and the risk of, do I have enough days to find something before I have to leave and I'm homeless? Now, Mason, of course, still needs a house in that third neighborhood. So I either need another one on my list or I need to start calling other agents and brokers and say, hey, Do you have anything in-house that you could legally and ethically tell me about? Or when are you going to be putting that publicly on the market? Or we can be reaching out to people that we know that might consider selling or might have a rental they might want to sell, and a bunch of other things that we won't share here on the radio. But that's called our private portfolio list. That's one way to do it. It's a very, very good way to do it. A local broker who has large exposure to the marketplace, that has access to lots and lots of people through, in our example, radio, television, YouTube, internet, events, past clients, books. I mean, all these different ways we can connect people in a legal and ethical way without committing them to super crazy fast, hundreds of showings over the weekend, and now I have to move, but I don't know where I'm going to go. All that kind of stuff. So if you would like, if any of our friends and listeners would like to be a part of that private portfolio list because you'd like to sell and buy, or just sell or just buy, anytime in the next couple of years, just text this phone number right now, 214-310-0008, and just write private list, private portfolio, and someone, maybe even the soothing English tones of Ian Daniels,
maybe,
will call you back and just get some basic information and tell you kind of how it works and what we can do and what we can't do and get you taken care of. So just text private portfolio or private list to 214-310-0008.
Wait, this is something anyone can be on, Todd?
Anyone who wants to communicate directly with us. And then that allows us to have that legal, ethical kind of bridge to do that. But the answer is yes. Anybody who wants to tap in to this really, really, really valuable resource, really the most valuable resource I'm aware of in a market like this, access to information that is otherwise not accessible to you, that could help you make a move, find a house, potentially not have to compete with 40 other people, but also get a great price for your home. It is one of the ways we're seeing people really happy to move in this market, where unfortunately a lot of people are still moving, but they're not necessarily happy about it because they feel like they had to overpay to buy or sell in a total panic. Just text private portfolio or private list to 214-310-0008 if you're thinking about buying or selling in the next couple of years. There's no pressure, but if you would like an easier route and access to that information, text private portfolio or private list to 214-310-0008.
Mason, do you want to be on the list?
Oh, Mason's on the list. He's got one coming up summer. You got it on the list, right?
Summer. Yeah.
On the list?
I am on the list.
All right. Hot property coming soon.
Sweet.
Don't tell anyone, but tell everyone.
Okay.
Don't tell anyone illegally, but tell everyone legally.
No one but everybody. Okay, this next segment is brought to you by DP Lambert and Goosehead Insurance. We've been telling you for years about DP and the amount of money he has saved so many people, myself included, thousands of dollars, and that is not an exaggeration. Thousands of dollars. Same with Todd, and same with so many other people in our office and so many of our clients. Plus, we've got better coverage at a cheaper price. DP is a broker. He's going to shop dozens and dozens of providers for your home and your auto insurance, and he's going to let you know whether bundling is best or whether having two separate companies is best. But either way, he's going to make sure that he gets you the best coverage at the lowest price. You can reach out to DP by emailing dp.lambert, Lambert, at goosehead.com. You can call him at 214-838-5684. And as always, you can go to toddtremoniteam.com. You can click the radio tab, and you can find all of our recommended pros and vendors there.
We were talking recession at the beginning of the show, and we'll cover that in more depth in the after the break in the second part of the show. But I did just want to mention there is a very real scenario, and I hope everybody's leaning in and listening. There is a very real scenario where most of the country experiences an economic recession, and North Texas, in many ways, not every way, but in many ways, barely notices. And what I predict is that we probably will experience some form of recession, right? There's a lot of different ways, right? There's like Great Depression type, countrywide devastation. Mm-hmm. And then there's, Great Recession style, big chunks of the population feel the pain of it, but others don't. And then there's kind of a mild the math says we're in recession, but generally speaking, it feels just kind of an awkward, slow sluggishness. At the moment, until we receive some sort of new news, I think probably number 3 is likely in the next couple of years, but the real estate market probably will not participate in that. And the reason for that is we have very little inventory, we have a lot of demand, and we have people from all over the world, plus all over the country, plus all over the state moving here to, smooth over the bumps of what would otherwise be a economic slowdown. The activity in our local economy is still hot and heavy because people are buying houses, they're buying schools, they're joining private schools and public schools and buying couches and new carpet. And even though the cost of gas is high, they got to have it, so they're buying it anyway. So there's likely to be a continued massive influx of economic activity, which is otherwise atypical, that would help us weather what might in the media or in the headlines be a major economic piece of news that there may be a recession. So we'll dig into it more later, but my hope is to be an encourager when I say that people know that there may be a legitimate recession and the DFW real estate market may not participate in it at all.
We really think that home warranties are super important, especially for that first year that you're living in a home, and we fight for each of our clients to be able to have a home warranty when they're buying a house. And we really love the folks over at HomeServe Home Warranty. They've been tremendous for so many of our clients over the past couple of years. They take care of the problems as they arise. Christine over there has really made a point to check in and see how things are going, and wants to know if anyone's not happy and wants to make things right if ever that happens. So HomeServe is who we really like, and the quality of service that they deliver. You can go to homeserve.com for more information on HomeServe Home Warranty, homeserve.com or toddtremonti.team.com, where you can find all the recommended pros and vendors under the radio tab.
Yeah, if you are thinking about buying or selling a home, let's just say the next 2 years, you need to start getting your ducks in a row. Now, previously I probably would have said, that's too early, no big deal. But there's so much complexity and insanity in the local market. There is some reason to believe that we have at least an idea of what will happen over the next couple of years. Of course, you never truly know the future, but you cannot start preparing too early. You absolutely can start too late. And I would say somewhere in the 90+% range of people that are thinking about buying and selling lately are waiting too late to start getting ready.
Especially with how little inventory we have right now.
And when buyers wait too late, they overpay. When sellers wait too late, they leave money on the table. Those are just the general rules. I don't think you want to do either of those things, especially if you're both a buyer and a seller. You don't want to overpay to buy and undersell when selling. Go to overunderagent.com, go to toddtremontiteam.com, Google Todd Tremonti, whatever you like. Easiest thing is just to go to toddtremontiteam.com. That's TRAMONTE, toddtremontiteam.com. We'll get you connected completely free with no obligation by Zoom, by phone, or right here in the office in Richardson or our office in Fort Worth. And we'll let you chat with one of our full-time, fully dedicated, world-class real estate professionals who can help you understand what you need now, next month, 6 months out, 2 years out, but can help you start getting your ducks in a row for a big win of a buy, sell, or both. Check it out at
toddtremontiteam.com.
Remember, folks, we only introduce you to recommended professionals because they've done a great job for us and our clients.
So check out Patrick Glaros Mortgage Team, HomeServe Home Warranty, DP Lambert with Goosehead Insurance, Evolution Moving, Republic Title, and Keen Landscaping.
We'll be right back with more Texas real estate on WBAP.
Welcome back to Texas Real Estate with Todd Tremonti, brought to you by the Patrick Glaros Mortgage Team, DP Lambert with Goosehead Insurance, Republic Title, Home Serve Home Warranty, Evolution Moving, and Keen Landscaping. And now your host, Todd Tremonti.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us through the break. This is Texas Real Estate. I am Todd Tremonti, and we didn't get a chance to do introductions in the first half of the show, but as you well know by now, we've got the English wonder himself, the Yanni Dani, in studio, helping route your questions and the complexities of the day. Welcome to the show, Ian.
Thank you. Ian Daniels, not Yanni Dani, but
Well, that's
close.
an alternate pronunciation.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
The preferred approach. Also, I noticed you've got your Middlesbrough mug,
Yep.
mostly full.
It's no games this week. International break.
Hey, so you're saying we're undefeated this week?
We are undefeated.
Undefeated this week up the borough. We've also got the young MG, producer extraordinaire of all things audio, video, and digital, probably some other things as well. You can check out his fine work at ToddTremontiTeam.com. Click in the videos tab. Welcome to the studio, Mason Goss.
Thanks for having me. You can check out 4 reasons to avoid moving to Frisco and 3 reasons to avoid moving to Richardson.
Wow.
Why is it that people on the YouTubes love the negativity so much more than the positivity?
It's just not just YouTube.
So it sounds like there's
I hate to break it to you.
no,
It's not just YouTube.
but there's no negative reasons to not move to Plano, right?
No, wait, that was
TBD.
what is a triple negative? Are you back to negative? No
yeah.
negative reasons to not move to.
You sit on a throne of lies.
That,
Man,
that
I'm
sure.
feels like that stabilized it. Yeah.
I'm English. My English is good.
Yep, the Yanni Dani from across the pond. Hey, folks, if you've got questions, you just text them in right in directly to the source, 214-310-0008. You can also hit us up online at ToddTremontiTeam.com. TRAMONTE Tremonti, ToddTremontiTeam.com. You can click on the scorecard tab there and find out your home buyer readiness score. You fill out 10 simple questions. I think it's 10, maybe 12. I think it's just 10. And within a matter of seconds, you'll have a literal score that'll tell you this is about how ready you are to buy. There's also one for selling. And it can be helpful just to let you know, hey, maybe it's time to go ahead and talk to somebody, or maybe it's time to continue to gather some information. It's never too early to reach out to our team, though. Even if you're way down the road, we'll jump on a quick Zoom or a phone call, get you taken care of. If it is time to start getting actively in the market, then by all means, we can either do a Zoom or get you here in the Richardson office or the Fort Worth office, or figure out another solution. All that happens online at ToddTremontiTeam.com.
You can also go to valuethishouse.com, where in less than 60 seconds, you can see what your home would sell for or what it would rent for if you're thinking about renting it out. It's going to give you a confidence score. And if you want something that's more custom, then just respond to us, respond to the email, and you will get that. We will give you a call. We'll get a little bit more information, and we will go from there on getting you a more custom valuation. ValueThisHouse.com. This first segment of the show is brought to you by Patrick Galeros and the fine folks over at Cardinal Financial. Patrick, as we have told you for years, has built a team around people's real gifts and abilities so that he can deliver world-class service to each and every one of his clients. I'm a client, Todd's a client. Many of us have been clients of Patrick's over the years.
Thousands.
Yes, and so many good reports. You can go to patrickgaleros.com for more information. You can call 972-728-3420, NMLS number 308804, patrickgaleros.com.
Can we just take a minute to celebrate?
Yeah.
Can we celebrate a Todd Tremonti home selling team milestone?
Sure.
This past week, we crossed over the 600 5-star Google reviews.
Wow.
And to be really honest with our friends, just the few thousand of us, however many are with us today, I actually liked it more when we had a 4.9 star rating because it looks more believable. Like, that many 5-star reviews is unbelievably humbling to me. I literally sit and spend time in prayer for folks that we get to work with and our team members, and I'm just thankful. It's just wild to me to think that in 2001, when I started to get serious about real estate, the fact that we would have thousands and thousands of clients Many of them before people were comfortable and normal. It was normal to go on the internet and leave your name and a review and things, but 600 plus 5-star Google reviews. If ever you're interested in working with the Todd Tremonti home selling team and you're like, I'd like to check out how they work, just Google my name, Todd Tremonti, and there are now over 600 reviews that you can check out. You can find out about our different team members. What I love about the reviews is that some of them are about Jeremy, some are about John, Ryan, Leah, Mari, Brandon, David. It's really exciting at times when the reviews are even about our staff, right? You'll hear about Ian or Mason or Elizabeth or Brandon, or someone else on the team that a client is understanding that they have more than just a real estate agent, more than just the agent that is their lead negotiator, advocate, guide, but they realize they have an entire team behind them, kind of like walking into a courtroom with an entire legal team representing you. That's how we represent, serve, lead, guide, treat our home buyers and home sellers. And so check out those reviews. Just Google Todd Tremonti, Tramonte. By the way, TODD on Todd. Just Google Todd Tremonti. Check out those reviews. If you have gotten value from our team as a client or as a listener educationally, and you're interested in leaving a review, we'd love to have you do that. Otherwise, just check it out. And hopefully it's an encouragement to you for when the time comes for you to buy or sell real estate. Maybe to invest, maybe just to get some info. Hey, we're thinking about adding on. We're thinking about a major remodel. Who should we use? We would love to be a resource for you, whether we're earning a commission or not. All that can happen online. Just Google Todd Tremonti, TODD, TRAMONTE.com. Yeah, or like Carter says,
ToddTremontiTeam.com.
We said at the end of the first half of the show that we were going to dig in a little deeper into what a recession could look like on both buying and selling homes here in North Texas. So what does that look like? Like, is that going to bring some opportunities? Is that going to make life even harder? Like, what do we think?
There's two worlds we have to live in: reality and the conversation, right? So with all due respect to other folks, I don't consider us in the media at all. We are on a media, radio, but we're not reporting, the news. We're not I don't think we're anybody's primary source of the news of the world.
I really hope not.
But I do hope that we're their primary source of real estate information and advice and advocacy. But here's the deal. The conversation will probably get ugly. The media discussion will probably be doom and gloom and destruction and what's coming, and interest rates are going up and the economy is slowing down and we're producing less, and all of these things that are basically just like standard talking points about a recession, right? Here comes 2008 again, right? What's going to happen to such and such group of people and so group of people, and whose fault is it, and all the negative, angry garbage. Now, again, I might be a little extreme on that. Some of those conversations are worth having. What can be avoided? By all means, if we can avoid economic slowdowns, we should, in my opinion. But that's a conversation that is going to bring mostly, if not all, negativity into the world. So let's just establish that that's probably going to be our conversation going forward. In many, 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 many ways, that is always the conversation. Because the negativity, to Mason's point earlier, the negativity is always the more intriguing message in our culture. Why does the reasons not to move to Frisco video always do better than the reasons to move to Frisco? Because for whatever reason in our culture, in our society, that's what grabs people's attention. So I think the conversation is going to be very, very, very negative. Now, I won't say on the flip side, but I'll say, in addition to that, I think there will be some very real positives. And you brought this up earlier, Ian, that there are opportunities when things like this happen. And I don't mean like, economic raiders, corporate raiders, financial vultures that come in and like, buy houses out from under little old ladies and make money. That's not what I'm talking about. But if the stock market dips a little bit and you're young enough or astute enough to take advantage of that, then hopefully you can buy low
Buy low, sell
for
high.
a later opportunity to sell high. I see zero reason as of today, as of late March, I see not one single reason to believe that home prices will go down at all or with any sustained lasting ability. So we're not talking about values going down. What we're talking about is the fact that the conversation might be negative and the positives in the market might be, if you buy, your value is probably still going to go up. And it's probably never going to come back down. So it's probably still a good time to invest in real estate. As interest rates go up, they're still going up, historically speaking, to attractively low rates. They might go up from 3.75 to 4.25. At some point later this year, they could be approaching 5. By all means, the bummer in that is that you can't afford as much house. The payments go up, the down payments go up, the amount of house the same money can get you is less, but you may find it slightly easier to get a house.
Is that going to bring more houses on the market, more inventory, or is that simply going to reduce the amount of buyers that are going in on a property? Which way do you think that's going to go?
It's a very good question, and I rarely admit or say this, but I probably don't have a great answer for that. I'm going to give you an answer. And here's what I think is going to happen, but let me say up front very clearly, what? Yes. What? This is less certain of an answer than I normally give.
Okay.
My expectation is that we're going to see a couple of waves this year, that as rates go up, we will see some buyers, probably more than should, recoil, pull back, and sit and watch for a bit. And due to that, the balance of supply versus demand will feel less strained and more balanced, right? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. There might be fewer buyers for the same inventory, which might make it feel like more available inventory. Now, I think some of the counterbalance of that, when we recover from that and people realize, okay, this isn't going away anytime soon. The longer I wait, the worse this gets for me as a buyer. And they rush back in, we'll see just as much, if not more, insanity than we ever had. I don't think that anything in the next year is going to cause the actual total amount of inventory to increase at a rate where we'll see more of it sitting on the market at any one point. I don't think increase in inventory is going to outpace demand at any point in the next really long while, but for sure between now and the end of 2022. So did that answer the question?
Yeah.
I think we're going to see some volatility, or there might be some windows of time where if you're working with a full-time, dedicated, world-class agent with a great staff around them, you might get a phone call that's like, hey, we're in this weird moment where there's a lot of buyer pullback. Let's lean in. Let's go. This is the time where we can get you a better deal. And while you're at that, while you're thinking about that purchase and how to time it right, you might as well get your ducks in a row on title companies as well, because a bad title company can wreck a good deal. And man, if I'm not telling you, we saw it again this week. One of our team members is selling a home in an area that unfortunately Republic Title doesn't cover, which is rare. So they had to go with another title company, and they're not in the office. They're not answering the calls. They're slow on emails. And by all means, it is making what could have been an easy deal much, much tougher on the client, the agent, and everyone involved. If you're looking for a title company that does things with excellence and has been the pace setter in North Texas for a long, long time, go to republictitle.com. Tell your real estate agent about Republic Title. If you're working with us, the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team, we will tell you about Republic Title. If all else fails, republictitle.com or 972-423-8777. republictitle.com.
I saw a lot of people on social media this week, agents kind of around the country that I know, and there was a lot of people getting super frustrated because like first-time home buyers are just, they're out of it right now. Like, yeah! There's really not a whole lot that they can do. What hope can you give people that don't own a property right now, or have never owned a property, but want to get there? Like, what's the hope you can give some folks?
Okay, there is hope, but this is sort of like when you reach the age where your dad has to put his arm around your shoulder and be like, "Hey, you're not going to get everything you want, buddy.
What?
The world's a tough place out there. All right, I love you. You're going to do just fine. I'm not going to let you fail. But it's not always going to be just the way you want it, right? So that's the message to buyers right now is, hey, I hate it for you. I really do. When I was a first-time home buyer, it was easier than this. It just was. And I'm sorry that you didn't get the same shot at it that I did. There's some other advantages for you right now that I didn't have then, but this one's rough. Here's the deal. If you're a first-time home buyer or you've been out of the market for a while and you're getting back in as a buyer without something to sell right now, it's just going to be tougher on you. And you need to very seriously think about buying less house than you want or buying farther out from some of the, hot, up-and-coming, super well-known parts of town. Those are the two best approaches. Now, there is the third approach. The third approach is what I affectionately refer to as the unicorn plan. This is a mythical creature.
Starting well.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this to be rude, but it's not truly mythical. It's just so rare, right?
My daughter's going to argue with you, by the way, that unicorns are real.
That's fine. As long as she's willing to talk to me, I'll be happy to have that conversation with her. Here's the deal. The chance where you get basically lucky and you can find a house in the neighborhood you really want in a first-time homebuyer price range, probably because it needs a ton of work, or you just got super lucky that somebody's like, downsizing and just wants to serve another family. Like, I'm not saying to totally give up on that. I'm saying do not expect that. That is very, very rare.
And I think where you're located in the Metroplex plays a big deal.
If you're telling me right now, look, I really, really need to be in Sherman under $300,000, I'm like, great, we can do that for you. That's still doable in Sherman. If you're telling me, hey, I need to be in West Plano and my budget is $290, I'm going, man, this is one of those conversations where it's like, I love you, I want to make that happen for you, but that's not super realistic. That's just not likely to happen, and you shouldn't wait for it to happen. We should find an alternative for you. We should find you something as close to that area as we can, maybe with one less bedroom, maybe without an extra study or office or living room or a smaller garage or whatever the case may be, or we should really back away and find a community that's just totally different from that might also be able to make you happy and get that done within your budget.
Mari on our team over in Fort Worth, she just purchased a home, Fort Worth side of things, obviously, because that's where she works and is an expert and helping people buy homes. She just purchased a home for a really great price, but it needed some work.
Yep.
And she's done the work to it, and then she just moved in this past week.
Can we talk for 1 second about how great Mari is?
Sure.
What?
Mari's really, really great.
Yeah!
Lil John knows it. You know it. I know it. Just about anyone over on the Fort Worth side talking to our team knows it. If you're thinking about buying a house in the Fort Worth area at all, you've got to reach out to our team so you can chat with Leah, Robert, Mari over there. Mari is out grinding and fighting and going to war for home buyers in the Fort Worth area every single day. She's absolutely wonderful. Call the office if you want to chat with her, 214-310-0008, or you could always go to toddtremonteteam.com, toddtremonteteam.com. Call any number, text any number, fill out any form, email anybody on the team. And if you're in the Fort Worth area buying, feel free just to ask for Mari. She's wonderful, super skilled, just got one under her belt for herself and is helping 2, 3, 4, 5 buyers every single month over in Fort Worth really, really get it done. Also want to chat with you for a second about Keen Landscaping. Met with them recently about 2 properties I'm currently working on. If I own a home, I'm talking to Keen because I know the power of landscaping to impact to the property value in more than one way. Number one, the value of financial value when it's time to sell or refinance. Number 2, the lifestyle value, which honestly, when you're living in a home and you don't care about buying and selling, that's huge. Is it enjoyable? Is it peaceful? Does it create privacy? Does it create shade? Does it allow you to, walk that pathway without completely wearing it out and creating a mud patch? This is a great time of year to reach out to Keen Landscaping and to get something started before we get fully all the way into the most enjoyable times of the season to be outside, right? We're heading into that as we get into the heart of spring and early summer, and then you want to be rocking and ready before next fall hits. Reach out to them at KeenLandscaping.com. That's Keane, KeenLandscaping.com. Ask for our buddy Ben over at Keane Landscaping. Find him online, KeenLandscaping.com. Looks like producer Mason has got something on his mind. Did you have something you wanted to share?
I was just scrolling through the YouTube comments, and we talked about negativity earlier in the show, and I'll just try to skip through a lot of it. But I guess my question I had, and I think a lot of people, the sentiment is wondering where going to be the best opportunities, we'll say, in the DFW area in the coming year to find a house.
Yeah, let me give some of those. Can you check my clock for me there for a second?
Yeah.
Hey, we get this question all the time. I actually love this question because it's obviously an intelligent, thoughtful way to approach buying a home is, hey, where might I find some value?
And I know you only have a little bit of time left,
right?
So don't feel like you have to go.
Let me first say, go check out our YouTube channel because we have hundreds and hundreds of videos on all sorts of every different part of town you can dream of. And if we don't have a video on something you really want one on, drop it in the comments or call the office, reach out, go to ToddTremontiTeam.com and say, hey, tell Mason and Todd to shoot me a video on Parker, Texas, or whatever part of town you want. But it's a difficult to answer question because people have different wants and needs. But if you're talking about where can I get a house for the most reasonable financial value, there's some pockets that we don't talk a ton about on the show that I really like for that. One of them is Nevada. Some people call it Nevada. Nevada, east of Wiley, right by Lake Lavon or Lavon Lake, is much closer to Dallas than a lot of the far north suburbs like Sherman or Salina and places like that are popular for great reasons. But a lot of people are moving all the way up there to make a commute into Dallas, and you could be in Nevada at a much more affordable home, more affordable land, get a little bit more space. And Wiley has grown up big. Sachse's grown up big. Murphy's fantastic. Parker, Lucas, that whole corridor northeast right there is really great.
What makes it really great?
You could also shoot into downtown Dallas, I-20, I-30, get over to Fort Worth really easily from that location.
Yeah, give like a 30-second
So
pitch.
Nevada, the cost per acre is going to be probably 30% less than those northern suburbs and probably about 20% less than some of those far west Fort Worth suburbs. There's new construction builder stuff going on, but there's also a lot of custom stuff going on still where you can get an acre or two instead of a quarter of an acre. And then you've got some really cool recreational stuff with the lake, with land out there. You've also got downtown historical Wiley, which is a really cool place to shoot into with wineries and restaurants and fun stuff going on.
Yeah, you're not too far out where
Exactly. You're right on the edge of Progress, which used to be everything past Plano or Richardson. The equivalent on the Fort Worth side is basically Aledo, right? Aledo used to feel like it was like a big space between Fort Worth and then it was Aledo. Now it's part of things. So Weatherford is already becoming connected and booming, right? So, I could keep going, but we just don't have time to do that today. Go to ToddTremontiTeam.com, click on the videos tab, and check out tons of videos we have there. Also, check out how to get your home value in less than 60 seconds, as well as how to connect with our team, the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team, on buying, selling, investing, home value, protesting your property taxes, or anything else you might need help or information on related to your home. ToddTremontiTeam.com. Remember, folks, we only recommend professionals that we have had a great experience with or our clients. So go check out
Patrick Glaros Mortgage Team, Home Serve Home Warranty, DP Lambert with Goosehead Insurance, Evolution Moving, Republic Title, and Keane Landscaping.
Find them all online at overunderagent.com. We'll be back next week, 3 p.m., right here on WBAP.